Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute little bird. This is a design that Maria Velez and I have come up with together. So this is a joint effort between Maria and myself, and we really hope that you enjoy making it. It's really cute, I think. I'm really loving this one. So let's get started. What you're going to need: white, blue, well, you can use any colours, it's completely up to you. What I've used: white, blue, white and blue for the feathers and for the wings. I've used orange for the beak. You do need stuffing. There's a variety of different things you can use for stuffing. I use the 100% polyfill. I find it nice and soft and light, but you can use cotton wool balls, tissues. Some people have used toilet paper. One lady had the brilliant idea of stockings, old tights that had laddered that she's not using anymore. Rather than throw them away, she uses those. Another lady cuts up her husband's old t-shirts. One lady steals the stuffing from her husband's pillow and he hasn't noticed yet. So yes, all sorts of things that you can use as stuffing. You're going to need eyes. Now I'm using these tiny little safety toy eyes. These are the smallest size ones. I think these are a 6, and I tend to put these together before actually putting them on my design because they can be a little bit tricky. You could use beads, you could use different kind of eyes, you could use bands. It really doesn't matter. Now, to put these together, if you have them, because they're quite tight, what I tend to do is I just push them together until I hear it click once. But sometimes they're so difficult to push with your hands. This one is particularly easy, but yeah, you see it's tricky from this part on. So what I do, I put it on and then I push with the eye bit to my desk, and then I push down until I can hear it click once. There we go. And I preload it. I get it ready before I actually need to do it, and so that when I'm actually putting it on my creation, I put it inside and just poke the eye through, because the bands move, so it's really quite easy to push them through. So I get it started just by putting it through on the tip there, and then I put it on my desk and try and give it an even push without breaking all my nails off. Come on, you tricky little thing. There we go, one click, and I only do the one click because otherwise I find it's too tight and it sort of puckers up the bands. So those are ready to go. I'm going to put those to one side. So let's start with the actual main body of our little bird, and I use a 2.75mm hook just because that's the size I prefer. I use the Clover Soft Touch hook. I find them really, really nice to work with. We're going to start by doing a magic ring. It was 6 bands in our magic ring, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a single to start with. I like to use my loom to do the magic ring to show you. I feel that it's easier for me to describe what I'm doing. If you don't need to use a loom, brilliant. Now, if you're new to Loomigurumi, I would highly recommend that you look at my YouTube channel. There's a playlist there with all the different tips and tricks, the stitches that we use, how you do increases, decreases, all of the different things that you're going to need. The Loomigurumi Beginner's Guide is there, so please have a look at that. Familiarise yourself with some of these techniques before launching one of these projects, because otherwise you'll get a little bit irritated when you have no idea what on earth I'm gibbering on about. Single band, wrap it round the peg, whoops, once and twice. Okay, if you can do this on your hook, fabulous. Poke your hook through and pull through a single band and loop it over itself in a slip knot. And I'm sorry for my voice. We of course got sick for Easter. It's always the way, isn't it? Little one brings something home on Thursday and then there's no school for the next 4 days, so we all get sick. So these are my 6 bands that I'm looping into a magic ring. and then we don't need that for the minute. We'll put that to one side. Spread these around so we have our magic ring, not our magic semicircle. Now, the other thing that you're probably going to need to use are stitch markers. Stitch markers just help you mark where you start and finish your rounds, and a round is going around your work. Now, I use these are a Clover product again. These are the little stitch markers. I've also got these little ones here that lock into place so that they don't fall off. They're quite handy. If you don't have those, a C-clip works perfectly well, and yeah, you can just use that. So our next round is what's called an increase. We're going to increase the diameter from 6 stitches. Here's our 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6 is on our hook. We're going to increase our stitches from 6 to 12. So push your hook through that first stitch, and what we're going to do that, it takes 12 bands, is put 2 stitches in each stitch. Okay, so you can put 2 bands here if you want. So here we go. Here's our first one. You're going to pull the band through, reclaim, one over the other, and join to the stitch in front of it. This is the time you're going to put your stitch marker on, because that's our first stitch. We're now going back through the first stitch of the previous round here to do our second single crochet. So doing 2 single crochets in the same stitch is an increase. Let's move to our second stitch. Here's our first single crochet. Back through again. Here is our second. The third stitch. Our first single crochet, and here is our second, fourth stitch, first single crochet, and second, fifth stitch, first single crochet, and second, and here's our sixth stitch, our last one. We'll do 2 in here as well. There's the first one, and here is the second. So we now have 12 stitches. Here's the first one with our stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and number 12 is on our hook. Alright, we're now going to do 2 rounds of single crochet, just in white. So I don't usually tend to count the amount of bands. I just sort of have a little pile ready for me to just take from. So 2 rounds of single crochet, that is going to be 12 bands in each. Okay, so it's 12 stitches. It's not going to increase or decrease. So push your hook through the first stitch, grab your single band and do a single crochet and move your stitch marker so that you know that that is the beginning. And we're doing a single crochet in each stitch. I'm extremely honoured to be doing this design. Maria had shown her original, I think it was a budgie, on Instagram, and everyone went bonkers about it. And then we realised that it looked a little too similar to something that was already out there, which is so easily the case. So we've changed up the design just a little bit, so it's more ours. It's very hard when you Google a picture of a budgie. There's only a certain way you can make a budgie, and or anything. You know, same with Mike Wazowski. There's only so many ways you can make a green ball with arms and legs. So this is our 3rd round, and our 4th round is going to be single crochet as well. So here's our first stitch, go through, we're doing single crochet for our 4th round as well, pull through, do your single crochet and move your stitch marker, and around we go again. Now our next round, which is our 5th round, is going to be 2 single crochets followed by an increase. Alright, so there's our last stitch. So now we go through our first stitch here. We're doing a single crochet, move your stitch marker, do your second single crochet in the next stitch, if I can hold on to my band, and now we do an increase. Make sure you go through both loops. We're working in both loops, so here's our first stitch, back through that stitch again, and do our second single crochet. Now we do 2 single crochets. So here's the first one. The next stitch we do another single crochet. So we're slowly increasing the diameter. Here we do an increase. And this is a gradual increase, it's not sort of bleh. That is a technical term, by the way. 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. So here's our first one. Here's our second. And now we do an increase. 1. And oops, come back here, no running away. Make sure our band's not twisted. And 2. 2 single crochets in the next stitches. 1. 2. And we finish with an increase. So now you have, this is our first stitch here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16 is on our hook. Alright, next we do, let's see, 1, 2, 3 rounds of single crochet in white. No increases, just single crochet. So push your hook through the first one and we'll do 3 rounds. Now I like to count what round I'm on. 3 is not really difficult to lose count of, but what I do is I move the amount of rounds that I have to do. I put bands here and I say, okay, this is my first round of single crochet. I know I have 2 more rounds to go. And I take my bands that I'm crocheting with from the other side, the other little pile that I have here. But the first one I always take from my round counter. That's our first round. Let's push our hook through that stitch again, the first stitch, and let's do our second round. Move our stitch marker. Around we go again. Oops. Just single crochets, no increasing. back. This is my last stitch for this round. Push my hook through the first stitch again. Whoops, make sure my stitch marker's out of the way. There's my last band from that little pile, so I know. Move my stitch marker. And around we go again. Now, I would like to mention another friend of mine. If you are interested in making bird designs, and you're not doing 3D but you want to do loom ones, please don't ask me to do loom birds. The best person to be following for that is a friend of mine called, her channel is Lovely Lovebirds Designs, and she has got the most fabulous bird designs out there done on the loom, peacocks, everything. She's also the lady that does all the dogs. Lovely Lovebird Designs, really nice lady. Have a look at her channel if you're after birds that are done on the loom. Definitely not an area that I'm getting into. Okay, so I'm now back at the beginning. This is the little head, as you can see here. This is the little head that we formed, and it forms its shape better once you put stuffing in it. So it sort of looks a bit sort of, I don't know, odd at the minute, but once we start putting stuffing in, things start to take their shape a little better. Now, we're going to move to blue, and I'm using this glow-in-the-dark blue. It's a bit of a jelly blue, and I'm not the best with jelly, but never mind. We'll see how it goes. I thought it might look quite nice. It's quite a nice colour. I'm going to zoom out a bit so that our creation doesn't get too big and you don't see what I'm doing. So in order to do that, this is our last stitch on our last round. We're going to push through our first stitch, take a single. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can actually do this. We can do a joined, because I've been working into continuous rounds. We can do a joined round, or we can use the new way that I did, which we'll just continue doing continuous, and I'm going to do that one. So what we do, we push our, we'll start again, push our band through, add the white loop to it, and reclaim. Take your stitch marker, pop it on the blue. I'm going to go a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so you have it like this. Go through your second stitch. You're going to knot that one like that with a little slip knot, and you're going to pull this loop through these two, okay, just like that. And then we're going to do, so what we're going to do for this round is a single crochet and an increase. So in this one here, we did our single crochet. We're going to do an increase in here, so that's going back through that same stitch. That's our increase. Now we'll do a single crochet and we'll do an increase. A single crochet and an increase. Single crochet and an increase. Single crochet and an increase. Single crochet and increase. crochet, and oops, an increase, single crochet, and followed by an increase. Now just pull this out a little bit. Let's count our stitches. We have 1, 2, 3. Let's make sure I'm in your view. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 is on our hook. All right. We're going to do a round of single crochet. Now, if you remember, if you've done my seamless colour changing before, you have 2 loops here. We have these 2 loops at the bottom, which you really sort of want to go through. But we also have these 2 here up the top, which is where our stitch marker is. And we're going through these 2, okay? So with a single blue band, you're going to do a single crochet and pull that down and add your stitch marker to that. That then pulls this down so that it doesn't look like you have a great big seam change. And we're just going to go around. Now, the other thing to remember, we do not go through this pair here. This is our next stitch, okay? So just doing single crochet all the way around. If you need a little bit more detailed instruction on how to do that colour change, in my Loomigurumi playlist for tips and tricks, there is a video, just a very short one, going through that colour change very slowly and precisely, so you can see exactly what I'm doing if that wasn't enough. Make sure you go through both loops. We're not working in the front or the back loop only, we're working through both loops. And here's my last stitch. Let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24 is on my hook. So that's exactly where we should be. Now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 5 rounds of single crochet. I'm going to put 5 bands out here, which will indicate the start of each round. Okay, and push your hook through, grab the first one from that little pile, single crochet, move your stitch marker and continue in your round. Alright, now I will meet you back when we have done 5 rounds of single crochet. Okay, so I'm back and hopefully you are too. For our next round, we're going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So pop your hook through, and we'll do our first single crochet. Move your stitch marker. Now we did have 24 stitches still, so that will increase. So that's our first. Here's our second single crochet, and now we do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So there's the first one, there's our second one. Do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, followed by an increase. Oops, make sure we're working both loops. We're not working an inside loop or a back loop or a front loop, we're working both loops. 2 single crochets, and an increase. And that will be the pattern until you get round to the first stitch again. Finish with a increase, 1 and our second one. Okay, let's count our stitches. 1, which our stitch marker is on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32 stitches. So I'm now going to do another round of single crochet. So push your hook through, just do one more round of single crochet. Let's get that out of the way. Move our stitch marker. And this again will give us 32 stitches afterwards. Oops. Yep, this one. Trying to go through a stitch that I'd already gone through. That would have given me an increase. That would have been bad. Okay, there's the end. So we have 32 again because we didn't do an increase. Now what we're going to do is start our decreasing. We're going to start by doing 3 single crochets followed by a decrease. So push your hook through the first one. This is number 1, and we'll put our stitch marker on here. That's 1, 2, 3, and we decrease. And let's count another 3. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease. Again, if any of the stitches that I'm doing confuse you, go and have a look at my playlist for the Loomigurumi tips and tricks, and you will find them all in there. And I go very slowly, very precisely. And 1 and 2. Whoopsie. 2. Okay, so that's our decrease. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease. So again, go through your first stitch, we'll pull through our first band, and we'll change our stitch marker to that. And we do, that's number 1, do another, this is 2, and then a decrease. And let's do that all the way around. 2 single crochets, so there's 1, 2, and a decrease. One, 2, the decrease. 1, 2, the decrease. 1, 2, decrease. And 2. Now I am going to go through this first stitch and do a single crochet, and I'm going to move my stitch marker to it like this, and I'm actually going to swap to the stitch marker that I can lock, because I don't want to lose this stitch. And we're now going to do some of the hardware of our little chappy. Alright, so I think the first thing that we'll do is work out where we want to place our wings. So this is the back, and I'm going to have that in the center, and I'm going to squish my creation down, and I'm just going to take a band and I'm going to work out roughly where I want my wing to be, and I want it to be about halfway in the blue. Alright, so it's going to be about here, and I'm going to pull a band through and use it as a marker band, just like this, like that. Okay, just put a little slip knot in it, and I'm going to try and approximate the exact same place on the other side again, so I can figure out what is even for my little dude's wings. Now, to do the wings, what I've actually done, if you can have a look here, I've done sort of like a half a magic ring, but I've actually done it on his body. Alright, and I used blue. So going from the first one that we have here, and I'm using my thumbnail to work out exactly where I'm going to go with that, I'm going to take the white band out, push my hook through, and this is where I'm going to be. So I'm going to take a blue band, pull it through. My bands are stuck together. Take another blue band and pull it through and do a slip knot. Okay, and then I'm going to, instead of when we would normally do a magic ring, we would go through these two, I'm going to actually go through this way. Alright, so that was my first band, this is my second. I'm going to do 7, third, fourth, and you're just pushing through that band that was there, 5th, oopsie, it can be a bit tricky, 6, and one more for good luck. Here's number 7, like so. Spread them out so that they are evenly spaced. Now, one of the things that you can do, and I did with this, I sort of went through a spot either side to anchor it. So here I sort of took my hook out, and I thought, okay, if I place this beside it here, I can see that this is approximately where I would be coming through. So I went through where I want to anchor it, put my band back on, and came through like this and did a slip, and then I came through this second one here, and I'm doing increases. Okay, so 1 and back through the same one again, 2. But as you can see, I've kind of linked it to the side of the body there. And in the second stitch, 1 and 2, here's the third stitch, 1 and 2, here's the fourth, oops, here we go, one and 2, one and 2. It's slippery. 1, same stitch, and 2. Make sure that these are evenly spaced, and again you want to sort of anchor it on the top here, so that, I'm trying to get my fingers right, so that it's even and linked in nicely. So there's my, sorry, let's not lose my loop. So go through one of the bands. I've still got the loop on my hook, and I'm going to go through one of the bands here like that. So I've just attached one little band from the body, and now what I'm going to do is the frill around the wing I'm going to make white. Alright, so I'm going to take a white band and I'm going to go through those 2, so it's the last band that I have there and the little anchor band that I just made, and I'm just going to go through with a single crochet just to give it a bit of a frill. And as I mentioned, you can do whatever colour you want. A little yellow one would be cute, like a little canary. This is more like a little bluebird of happiness, isn't it? Purple would be cute. Little green budgie. And here's my last one. Now this last stitch I'm going to go through with blue, okay, because as I do my blue and pull that through, the white is the last one that you'll see, but I'm going to push my hook through the inside and pull that little blue band through, and then as I tie it off inside, you're not going to notice that you're not going to notice that tie-off band at all, because it's blue, it's the same colour. So there we go. Now it looks a bit ruffled, but it does settle down, and also when we come to the end, we'll just use a little anchor stitch, and I just anchor the back of the wing to the body. We can do it now, it really doesn't matter, but I just anchor it so that it doesn't sort of flap, but you might like it to flap. It's completely up to you, as I said. And to anchor it, all I did was I went through the back, had it flush against the body so that it was sitting nicely against the body, and you don't want it too close to the end of the frill, because if you do it too close to the end, you'll see it. So I sort of came in through here like that, pull a band through and then go back up with your hook and pull the other side through, and there you have both ends on your hook here. Now you can either tie those in a slip knot, or, and I find it easier with this way, just use another band and tie in a slip knot like so. It makes it a bit looser, but I think also it doesn't pull it as much. Okay, so that's how I did the little wing. So let's do the other side. Now we want to be careful when we do this because we came through from the bottom to the top last time. So let's do that again this side. Put your hook through, remove your marker band, blue band, pull it through, get your next blue band, and this will be your first single crochet, but it joins the band together. Okay, and then we're going through these two. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one last one, 7. Gosh, I'm not being very clever here. 7. Now if you remember, spread it out. I'm going to just capture a little band under here, but try and make sure that it's at around the right spot. You don't want it to be pulling it too forward like this or too far back like this. You want it to be a comfortable position for it to be in. So I'm thinking probably about here. So I'm going to put my hook through a band here if I can. Come on, there we go. Get my other hook. Now we're doing increases, if you remember. So I'm pulling this one through. This will be my first. And I'm going to go through here and do 1, and then 2, and then in the next stitch 1, 2, 1, 2. I have to say, I absolutely loathe having to attach body parts. So if I can actually use a band to link it through and do it that way, I will take that opportunity every single time, which is what I'm doing here. I'm not having to link it or sew it in, I'm just using a band to already do that job for me. Okay, and I think that was our last one. So again, straighten this up a bit, work out where this is going to be. If you remember, we're going to pinch that. We need to find out where it's going to be comfortably sitting. Grab a band, add that to it. Now we're doing white for our frill. Pull the white one through, do your little single crochet, and then we just do a frill around in white with single crochets. we go. Again, I'm going to use a blue, pull it through. I picked a rather horrible blue band, it's a very thick band, but never mind. Pull it through, work out, I think we'll go through the same spot here that we just did. Pull it through to the other side, flip over, find a couple of bands at the back here. Pull through and tie off in a nice tight slip knot, and again spread them out so that they're even, and you might like to just gently go through, oops, get the stitch marker out of the way, with one band. I'm using blue again, and then through the other side, pull that band through so you have it trapped here, and tie off in a slip knot. So that's how I did his little wings. Now we can probably work out how to do his eyes and his little beak. So for the beak, the first thing I did was just use 3 little bands just to mark where I want the beak to be. And if you have a look under here, I just did sort of like a triangle really. So work out, if you've got him lying flat, approximate where you think the beak should be. So maybe going through these 2 for the top, like this, and I'm going to tie off with a white band because I don't want it to be seen. So I'm just going to take a white band and tie it off like that, because then all I do is come through this side and pull the white band through. Oh, we'll go through the back, it's easier, less chance of mistake. There we go. So that's going to be the top part, and then find a V. I'm going to go down here, that's sort of in the middle, and I'm going to go up the right side, and again take a white band, tie off, pull the white band through, and pretty up, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So go through the center and the left, and pull through so that the knot is hidden. Now if that's all you want to do, that's absolutely fine, you can leave it like that. So to make it protrude out a bit, take a single band and wrap it once and twice. Take a single band and pull it through, and just do a loose slip knot. Push your hook through the end cap again and grab another single band and pull it through and do a slip knot. Now you're not joining these together. Push your hook through again for the 3rd time and pull through, and we do a slip knot. As I said, we're not joining these together. We have 3 separate little slip knots here, okay, And what we're going to do is angle it so that one side of the beak goes through each part that we've made here. 1, 2, 3, and pushing your hook through the center here. If I can get my hook through out of the way of all those knots, we'll pull one loop. I really would like it to stay on my hook. Keep it on your hook. Okay, the loop has to stay on your hook. Go through the next one here. Pull your next one through. Keep it on your hook if you possibly can. Keep it on the hook, and then no, it doesn't want to today. Come on, there we are. And then through the last one here, and pull that one through. And then when you turn it over, now this one is not protruding as much as my first one, what you're going to do is just link these over like so, and we'll tie off in a slip knot just by going through one of the others like that, drawing a band through. You might have to twist your hook a bit. Let's try that again. Twist your hook or pinch, sometimes pinching, there you go, and tie off in a slip knot like that. Now this protrusion one it's not sticking out as far as my other. You just sort of gently pull it a little bit like so, and then it will look more beakish, I guess. But that is how I did it. Make sure that it's sitting in the middle. Okay, so the eyes, we already preloaded them, so we can take one, and I like them quite close to the beak. They can be fiddly because you can't see where you're going. There's one, and try and approximate for the other side. There we go, 2. So we have wings, we have his body. The only thing we really have to do now is his tail. I'm going to do that after we've actually stuffed him. So for stuffing our little chap, let's make sure that we have our little stitch marker hanging on the outside. We don't want that to get lost. I'm using the 100% polyfill. I just prefer that personally myself. Start by making sure that you have the head stuffed. Okay, make sure you push that nicely and firmly into the head area. And then the fun begins. I do suggest that you don't overstuff. Overstuffing will result in the stitches spreading apart, and you can see the stuffing from the outside, and it just looks nasty. So try not to overstuff. That being said, you don't want a toy that doesn't have a good shape to it. Now I'm going to do a tiny bit more. I can see that it is beginning to pull the stitches a tiny bit here at the front, but we have quite a bit to close here. Maybe we'll be conservative and use half the extra amount. I always tell you guys less is best, so maybe I should take my own advice, right? We'll try that much. So now Now we have to close them up and then we work on the tail. So to close, I'm going through my stitch marker and we're going to do a single crochet followed by a decrease. Well, this was our single crochet, so we need to start this time with a decrease. And I tend to push the stuffing down with my thumb as I grab my stitches. I don't like having stuffing protruding between my stitches particularly, so I try and just get it out of the way. So a single crochet followed by a decrease. Decrease. Doing one band at a time and a decrease. Now I'm going to take my stitch marker out because I know that all I'm going to be doing now are decreases. And if you want to be delicate about it, you can do single crochet decrease, and it's more gradual, but I think that gives a more puckered look to the bottom of it, so I just try and just do decreases. And I think one more here, if I possibly can. And a tie-off band. Nice and tight. And then I like to push that through the base. Grab that tie-off band and pull it back so it's hidden inside our little creation. Now, get him into shape a bit. You don't want him looking like a candy corn, although that would be a really cute candy corn. He is going to sit up by himself. He's a bit lopsided at the minute, but he will sit up by himself. And if you don't want to do the tail, that's absolutely fine. You can leave him like this. I mean, I think he's really, really quite cute, just like this. But now what we're going to do is this tail part. All right. So now we're going to work on the tail for our little bird. And as I said, if you don't want to put a tail on, you don't have to. But I think it just sort of finishes him off just a little bit. But he is quite cute how he is. So we're going to do a magic ring with 5. Okay, you can use your loom peg if you want to. And as I said, it's 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're not going to spread it out this time. We're going to have a magic semicircle. Finally, a magic semicircle. What we are going to do, turn it around a little bit so that this part is facing towards you. The curved side is facing to the left. And you can take your hook out and put it back the other way if that makes it easier for you so the band's not twisted. What we're going to do is an increase in each of these 5 loops. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Have we got 5 loops? No, I think we've got 4 loops actually, because that's not 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to give us 8 new stitches. So push your hook through the first one, and we're going to do a single crochet, and then you're going to do another single crochet in the same stitch, and then in the second stitch you're going to do 2 here too as well. Whoopsie, let's make sure we have 1, 2, and 2 here, 1, and 2. This is our last one. Now I know it looks like this is a stitch underneath it, but it's actually not. Okay, so we're going to do 2 in this. So you've done 2 in 4 stitches, which leaves you 8 stitches. Okay, I'll count them with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is on our hook. It's going to be a bit difficult to use 8 on our hook. Take it off, move around. You're going to do double crochet, an increase again in each of these. Again, you've turned it around, you've got the curved part facing that way, and let's do 2 again, an increase in each. Let's flick bands at somebody else first. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and this is our last one here. Let's see, 1 and 2. Alright, so this is our semicircle that we have. Now what we're going to do, leave this loop on here, go through the second, so this is our first stitch, go through the second stitch, draw a single band through, and you're not going to do anything, you're just going to leave it like this, and we're going to chain. That's going to be chain 1, this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. On number 5 you're going to take this side of the band over the other, so you can do it this way like that, or you can do it by just taking this side with your fingers and moving it over. Now in each of these chains, 1, 2, 3, and this one here that's on our attached to our magic semicircle, you're going to push your hook through the center, take a single band, and we're doing a single crochet in each of these. There's one, and then move to the next one. There's two, and move to the third one, or actually fourth. Now in this one we're just going to go through these top two bands here, okay? These top here, and do a single here. And it doesn't matter if you get them all. Now for the next one, go through the next stitch. So this is the stitch that you were in. We're going through this stitch here, pull a single band through, and we're doing a slip stitch. So you're putting the band that was on your hook onto that, okay? Reclaiming one over the other, then go through the next stitch and pull a single band through. Don't do one over the other, we're just going to chain 5. That was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one over the other, and we're going to go in through each of these center pieces here like that and do our single crochets down. So oops, let's put that back on. Jelly bands. 1, 2, 3, and again just go through these 2, 4, through the next stitch on your semicircle, pull your band through, add the loop that's on your hook to it, okay, go through the next one to it. So I'm in that one, so the next one to it is here. I'm sorry, let's do one over the other first. Now we go through the next stitch, pull through, don't do one over the other, pull through your next chain, that's chain 2, 3, 4, 5, one over the other, through the center, one, oops, okay, so you go through the next stitch, pull through, do a slip stitch, one over the other, go to the next stitch, which is here, pull one through, and then we chain another 4, so that was chain 2, 3, 4, 5, one over the other, through the center, single crochet down the side, 1, 2, 3, remember we're just going through these 2 here, 4, go through your next stitch, we're doing a slip stitch, add your loop, one over the other, and this will be our last stitch here, pull through, that was chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one over the other, through the center, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to just go through this little stitch here, push your hook through, change to white. You're doing a slip stitch, one over the other, then you're going to take your hook out and go through the other side. Okay, now what we're going to do is work our entire way. You can see how this looks like this. We're going to work our entire way around with single crochet in white to give it a sort of frill. So we're going in each one single crochet in each of these stitches. Now again, it doesn't have to be white, you can use whatever colour you like. I've just picked the blue and white. So through all of these stitches you're just doing single crochet, and around the top it gets a bit tricky, so what I tend to do, what I'm going to do or suggest that you do for the top is you've done your one, do another, so that's 2, and then go to the other side and you're doing one in that side too, 3, and then another. So you sort of end up doing 4 to get around the top part of your little wing here. 2 on one side and 2 on the other. Now in these, where the join is here, what you're wanting to do is go through this little stitch just here. Don't miss that, otherwise you'll get a gaping hole. Like that. And it really doesn't matter if these curl up on themselves. I am resigned to the fact that they're feathers, or supposed to be feathers, so they are going to curl and look a bit messy. They're not going to be pristine and perfect. So this is my last stitch. I'm going to do 2 in here. When I say last, the top of my bird tail. 2, move to the other side and do 2 in this one. 1 and 2, and then we carry on down. The top one, so do 1 and go back in for the second, other side and do 2 here, 1, 2, nearly done. Top stitch, do 2 this side, to the other side. To here. To the other side. And what we're going to do is continue until we get to approximately the same spot that we started, but on the other side. So we've got 2 more to go. 1 and 2. Let's count that. Maybe 1 more. And 3. Now I'm going to use blue, and I'm going to come through, get rid of the whites for now. I want to get to the center, so I'm just going to crochet through to get to the center here. And I've got 1 slip stitch here. Well, it's not actually a slip stitch. Let's do a slip stitch. Like that. And then on the other side, at about the same spot, I'm going to do another slip stitch with just a single band, and we'll use these as anchor bands. So this is the tail. Alright, like that. And what we're going to do is position it here on his little back side. So the first thing I think I need to do is position where I want this to be, and I want this bit to be up. I want to be able to attach the back part of it to the back part here as well, to give it a bit more security. So line it up so that you've got a centerish band, and I'm going to go with these ones here if I can. There we are, like that. And I'm going to go through my creation, pull back like that, go the other side, grab the band and pull back. Now I know it doesn't look particularly pretty, but what we're wanting to do is tie that off in a slip knot so it's secure, and we can probably then pull that slip knot back down to the back here. So push your hook up and pull it back down, and we can maybe try and lock it in with these ones that we have down here. So for these anchor bands down here, I'm going to grab a couple, pull through. I'm going to keep that one. Actually, I'm going to pull that one through the center where I did the magic semicircle. Using my stitch marker, I'm just going to hold those bands so we don't lose them. I'm going to do the same this side, so hold on to this one. I'm going to go through a couple of bands here, pull it through. What did I just, oh, I lost a band there. That's alright, I've got it. Pull it through. Now what we can do is tie that one off like that, grab the other one that's on here, and we'll put that one through like that. Okay, so we have them all on our little bird bottom here. Now we have to tie them in together so that you can't really notice it. So I'm going to go in through the back here and just take a single band and knot them all together like this. And now I'm going to just go through some of these loops and just kind of hide this under some of these inside loops so that it's not really visible. And that is how I did his little tail. There he is in all his glory. I hope you enjoy making. Maria, thank you. This was a lovely design to work on with you. I've had a lot of fun with this. He sits up. He's got a chum. Lovebirds. Little lovebirds. Look, there we go. You can make them any colour you like. As I said, you could make them little yellow canaries or, you know, whatever. Anyway, enjoy making. Bye.